programs came on board, like now that the youth fund we're talking about, if these youth were already organized in their groups with their common interests, their common aspirations, it would be easier for them even to tap into the MIOGAs, the PDMs, and the Youth Entrepreneurship Fund. So we are rallying the youth. As Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we carried out a capacity needs assessment. This report was launched in June. And from our assessment, we established that youth and women are not fully brought on board. They are not fully engaged. And indeed, even at the International Cooperative Alliance, there is a youth league. There is a youth league which deals into youth, which solicits for youth engagement, youth empowerment. Because globally, the projections are that maybe by 2030 we shall be 8.5 billion. But of course, of those, we see that majority will be the youth.
Now, how do these, because what is one from my view now, is for them to get this link. You know, we have the Ministry of Labour, Gender and Social Development, which has programs, the youth livelihood being among the many that they are giving out monies. So we want to see how important is the cooperative movement into such government programs. When we see them, if we have Uganda Cooperative Alliance as a body now, and we have government having the resource envelope, child impacts doing the training, whatever they do as the Ministry of Gender. Now we use the cooperators. How do you come together to ensure the effectiveness of this program?
Mr. Chirabo, Uganda Cooperative Alliance is semi-autonomous, but we are also here to promote government programs. We work under the same framework. So there is the Sustainable Development Goals where we say we shall not leave anyone behind. Whether it's Vision 2040, we work in the same framework. NDP 3, we are saying people should have at least an average income to improve people's conditions of living. And we are saying that this should be inclusive. You know, we should have everyone brought on board. That's the theme of NDP 3, that's the target. So as cooperators, as the cooperative movement, one of our roles as UCA is to mobilize resources. So if we have seen resources in the Ministry of Gender, we are saying, look, young people, there is something in the Ministry of Gender. We can tap into it. If it's PDM, we say, yes, government, this is the model of government. So for us, our work is to supplement government. And we believe if we work together with the leadership of these ministries, of course, for us, we are supervised Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. But since we are implementing the same development framework for the country, we are saying when we spot a resource at point X, we have to rally our cooperators. We have to drum up for the young people to join. The other time we were talking about the Grow project. We were happy when government brought in that element of cooperatives, that, you know, cooperatives must have a share in that, women, to have women, you know, especially targeting the women into cooperatives. So it is so good. So for us, Chirabo, our role is first of all to mobilize, because our role as UCA is to mobilize the people into cooperatives, to carry out capacity building, to educate them about the importance of working in teams. Mr. Chalimpa hinted on it. He said, when we work together, it's easier to access resources. Remember, here we come together, a team of minimum 30 people to form a cooperative. So you come together. First of all, you even have your own resource that you will start on. You know, you say at table, this is what we have. Want to start with this. So we do mobilize those people. We do lobby for those resources that are available, and we highly encourage all Ugandans that, especially the youth, we are so much concerned about the youth, because we are seeing that it's a fact that there are inequalities in employment, globally, not only in Uganda. So we are saying, but how best can we tap into, how best can we rally the youth, how best can we help them also achieve the vision, the NDP 3, or now we are moving to NDP 4, how best can we? So we are looking at some of these avenues to reach out to the young people and say, please, where there are resources in government, let's join, let's organize ourselves, so that even when the resources come, it's easy, I think, for us as a movement. That's it.
Joshua, what has been the youth's levels of receiving this information, taking it up? Have they welcomed? Because most of the times when you talk to the youth, government programs, the good thing is there are quite a number. And I think the Ministry of Labour, Gender and Social Development, we've seen a number of these approaches of government, particularly ring-fenced to target the youth. Not saying that women are left out, persons with disability, but at least there's a portion for the youth. Now, how receptive have they been in formation of such groupings that government can use as finances?
Thank you, Ndugu Chirabo. I'm already seeing synergies between the ministry and UCA, because the intervention of UCA addresses one of the challenges. It's true, to respond to your question. The youth have been receptive to government programs because we provide the funding, which is the backbone of what they need to do enterprises. However, there has been a challenge, and that's where I see the synergies coming. And the challenge has been in the groups being able to stay together, youth being able to stay together as a group, what we would call group cohesion. I'm happy that I even did a master's research on this, that we have a very big problem of group cohesion, largely because the youth are not homogeneous. Yes, we are all youth, but we are not born of the same mother. Even those who are born of the same mother may think differently. And the Cooperative Alliance is talking about youth that are engaged in specific enterprises coming together. For example, they could be woodworkers, people doing in furniture, they could be people selling shoes around the window market, because they are brought together because of same interests.
Exactly.
Now, what happens is sometimes when the youth hear that there is money in YRP or PDM, or they just bring together groups they find, they don't have the same interest, but for purposes of accessing the money. And once the money comes, you already start getting problems, and the groups disintegrate. In most cases, they will say, let's share the money, and everybody does what they want to do with the money, and the enterprise collapses. So because of now the intervention of UCA, we are likely to get groups of people of like minds, who, when they are funded, the success rate for the enterprises could be expected. In many countries, it's not only Uganda here, even in the US or UK, or even here in Kenya, you find that most of you'll see buildings written on cooperators. People have been using this approach and have been growing. And even here, I find that some regions are doing far much better. Yeah. When I travel in, for example, in the west of the country, and you see that one is a circle, and they even have a building in Ushenyi circle, because they are united over the same interests. Some of them could be dairy farmers. Their interest is cows and the milk, and because they have the same interests, they protect those interests. They bring their resources and are able to expand. In Mbale, in the eastern region, in Bugisu region, where you have one of the still surviving cooperatives, the Bugisu Cooperative Union. It is united around the idea of coffee, which is a dominant crop around the area. And because they have the same interest, they are interested in coffee, they have been able to survive and flourish as a cooperative. So I think that with the intervention of UCA now, we will be able to have groups that can last the test of time. And with the intervention now from the ministry, where we provide the resources, which is key, if you have the right groups, you have the intervention in terms of resources, whether in YRP or UWEP, and now even with PDM, and all the other interventions that will come thereafter, you find that then you can talk about the development of this country. Because once you target the youth, who are the majority, and they know what they want, they are not looking for money to eat or marry. I'm not saying that marriage is bad.
Yes, definitely.
But if they are given the money to do the right interventions, then we can achieve the development goals of the country.
Well, said Joshua, that yes, you need organized youth they have the same vision, the same interests, and when money comes to them, they will achieve. But when we see how youth come together, because they've heard of an opportunity of money, no one does it like money, I'm very sure. So they will definitely do all it takes to get that money. But the problem is sustainability thereafter. Now, the cooperative model addresses that. And I want Justin to tell us, how does the cooperative model address this? Longevity of these groups, cohesion of these groups, purpose for the money for these groups.
Yes. Mr. Chirabo, thank you so much. And this question now gets to our mandate as Uganda Cooperative Alliance. Like I've said, first of all, as the movement, we have our principles. And we are asking, how can this money be put to use? How do we ensure continuity? Now that we have laid the foundation, but how do we ensure continuity? That when these youth come together, they will meet their target and push on. So one, we look at the issues that we do capacity building. That is our fifth principle on training, training information. We equip the youths with the skills to enable them carry forth. One of the models that we use, UCA has models that it uses among the cooperatives for sustainability, for resource mobilization. One of them is called the FACT methodology. This FACT methodology empowers the members of cooperatives with skills in proposal writing, business writing, because some of the projects we have to reach out to through proposals. So that's one of the methodologies. Through the FACT methodology, we empower the cooperatives, the youths now in these cooperatives, to also look at possible ways of putting forth proposals. They have interest, for instance, in the environment. Maybe they can put their proposal in such areas, write proposals to such. Secondly, as the cooperative movement, these principles, once the principles bind us, they keep us together. We teach about governance, issues of governance. Some of these cooperatives have fallen apart because of the gap in governance. But once we have our leaders elected amongst us cooperators and by us, people we trust, people we believe in, this will ensure continuity. So we work basically. We don't work in isolation. We have cooperation among cooperatives. We relate, we compare, like, how are you doing it? How is there was a lender doing? How is this youth group in Kamuli doing it? So we also encourage that interlinkage relationship between cooperatives, so that we get to learn the lessons which we draw from the other. And then, of course, for issues of policies also, it is one of maybe the challenges also. In Uganda currently, I think the biggest is because they are multiple in nature, so it's a bit tedious. You have to register with Ministry of Trade, you have to go, so harmonization. So also as the movement, as a UCA, our work is to lobby for favorable legal and policy environment, which will enable the youths move on well and continue and sustain these cooperatives. And Mr. Chiraba, I would like to appeal to the cooperators out there. We've not had good strategies to bring these youths on board. In some of these cooperatives, especially the traditional ones, we have that founder syndrome. And for us, our as Uganda Cooperative Alliance is that it's a fact of age, like people will age, the leadership will age. But for us to have continuity, that's why we are, as a strategy, we want the youth to be integrated in these cooperatives, into the leadership, so that even as the elder people wear out, we can still have continuity. And the young people will come on board with new ideas. Today we're in a world which there's globalization, there's development of technology. So there's something that we miss out if cooperatives don't bring the youths on board. First of all, our cooperatives risk dying out because if maybe the vision bearers we are not teaching the young ones on how the cooperative should operate. So that's sustainability. But we also miss out on the technology element. Today, things are, it's electronic marketing, electronic messaging, services. Even our ministry here, our Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, now they have a management information system where, even we have to register online. So now, if the elders, the founders don't give room, space to the young people, we risk also losing out and not reaching even to markets, because some of them are into marketing. Mr. Chanipa talked about Bugishu Cooperative Union. We have Lango, Banyankole, Kuchana. These products, these days you have to reach on, marketing online is the way to go. So we shall also miss out on a certain segment. movement. So that's how we get the youth to integrate them, what they want. If it's now the IT, yeah, we are saying, yes, let's digitalize in the cooperative. That's what will draw the youths into this space, and we sustain them there. That's what we should do. Let's not be analog. Let's adopt the technologies to have the youth on board for continuity and sustainability of the cooperative movement.
I love when you address the issue of old syndrome in these cooperatives. Many will tell you, exactly. They'll tell you, we started this chiving, we were 4 people. The late so and so, the late so me, and 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 even every annual general meeting. I don't know why it is policy, because many of those I've attended, they never cease to mention the founders. As we've gathered today, we want to thank, we want to thank, we want to thank. If the founders are still also there, they either wave for no reason, they will come and give a statement or two about they are neither chairman, they are neither, but they still have that. And no wonder it's been so much of a struggle. Most of the traditional cooperatives where the youth are mere contributors. That yes, you have your coffee, you bring to the cooperative, amalgamate and make the sales. Now here we are, and we are saying it's time for the youth to also handle this leadership. Exactly. But you say I want to bring in Joshua because he has worked with the youth for so long. I must say, I've known him for some time, and he has had good exchange. He has led groups of youth. Joshua, Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, and by the way, government of late, it's pushing for what we call mindset change. Now, every time we have programs of the youth, there's that element of mindset change. In cooperatives, I don't know if they have adopted it yet. What is this mindset change thing? I beg to understand it better.
I think, first of all, what brings people together in cooperatives, since we are with Uganda Cooperative Alliance, is not the immediate benefits they are going to get. Normally, the investment in a cooperative is to address today, tomorrow, and the next generation. And that's where the issue of mindset comes, because the youth of today are probably not looking at tomorrow.
You give them a cooperative.
They are looking at what they can get today. I use the example of the youth in my village, for example. It is very rare to see a youth planting cocoa or coffee, because they will ask, how long does it take to mature? And if you tell them that you need at least 5 years for the coffee to give you the good yields, they will see it as a very long period of time. They would be, that's why you have many youth doing boda, because once you buy boda today, the next day on the road, you will start getting the money. Now, that's the issue of mindset. But for us, we know that for the youth to develop and for us to build a country that we need people who are going to think about tomorrow. And that's where the challenge is. Now, for example, the Cooperative Alliance would help us address one of the challenges. For example, under the intervention of our programs in the ministry, you have a number of groups, but fragmented and working alone. It means that if you have a group in Kasese making baskets, they can only make a few baskets as their energy can allow them. There are probably a group of 10 people making baskets, and maybe they can make 20 or 30 baskets in a week, and therefore can address a small market around Kasese. Now, once you get an order of 5,000 baskets, if, for example, they say that now Serena Hotel wants baskets, or if they say that we want mats, there's going to be an international conference, and therefore we need people who can supply 10,000 mats, they would not be able to
take up that order, yes.
Because their capacity of production is low. Now, the cooperative movement means that it gives you an expanded network of individuals thinking alike and are able to provide for the market. They are also able to market together. Now, for us, as the ministry, we see it as an opportunity. One, because we can coalesce the different groups, the different interests leading in a particular product now to target the bigger market.
Okay.
So also the issue of skilling and training, she talked about it.
Yes.
And sometimes, for example, in the ministry, we have a line of funding for purposes of skilling, but it's provided as a loan. And for most youth may find it as wasteful to get a loan, to be taught to do something better.
Indeed, that would be a hard...
because first of all, they may have the thinking that they know. And when in actual sense, there is a lot that they don't know.
We are welders. We've been welding and making all sorts of things. Now, you
have been welding using the technology of probably your grandparents just burning things. The finishing is not good. You find that they have welded a door, but you see when the line is where they have welded. They don't have the equipment that can help them smoothen a product. So if now you have a good product, you can campaign for it and say that it's long lasting, but it may not compete with the Chinese product which has been produced and is looking nice. Because people want to see things that are looking nice.
Very true.
So for me, I find that when those components are put together, you find that the success rate of our programs is also improved. People have the right training. It talks to the mindset. Also, people know that we have to think about tomorrow. People think also that they are able to be in a competitive world and know that they are not addressing a village problem. They are addressing a national problem.
Well, we are still looking at the youth issue here in this country, Uganda, and of course, how can we use the cooperative model to ensure that we alleviate poverty amongst the youth. Remember, a huge chunk of our population are the youth. And now, youth are very productive and very important for our nation. But you see, you must also have a quality population. We've seen countries now struggling because the big percentage of their population are elder persons. Yeah. Now they are trying to fill the gap of having the youth. But a very big population of youth, not planned for, not quite a population, then is simply a time bomb. Now, government of Uganda, through Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, came up with a number of initiatives aimed at ensuring that they help the youth. They extend a hand financially. Joshua's talked about training. We now have a number of skilling centers. I was watching His Excellency during his wealth creation tour. Of course, it's still going on. It's in Sebei region. But opening up skilling hubs and also giving money under the PDM and other initiatives government has been giving money to the youth to ensure that they can have capital, they can increase on what they already have because they have more money brought into the basket. But government says the best vehicle is through the cooperative model of formation of organized groups. And one and the best way of these organized groups is what we are discussing today, is the cooperative model. Because for it, given the principles Justin has talked about, you're very sure that this group is going to leave a test of time. You're very sure that this group has received the trainings and you're very sure they will pay back this money. Now, Justin, this is where I want also to better understand. I've seen women-led cooperatives performing very well. The elder men doing very well despite all challenges. Cooperatives of about 40 years and above, up to 60, moving very well. But why are we seeing the youth? First, their involvement is not that very good, we must say. But also second, there are usually a lot of struggles. If I see those arbitrations at the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, you see that the youth cooperatives, now to mention a circles basically, there's that that struggle. What is that we need to do for them to appreciate, but also to improve the running of these circles?
Mr. Cherabo, I appreciate, like you've observed, and it's a global trend, like in most countries. Yes, the population, maybe in European countries, those first world, the developed countries, first world, yeah, indeed, their population, the elderly population is more than the youthful. But in Africa, the youth population is really high, and projections are that by 2030 actually, we shall see the youth in Africa move out to look for opportunities. And it's happening. We are seeing people go to Saudi Arabia. They are going, to look for greener pastures elsewhere. So that's why we are as the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we are saying that, yes, we appreciate the challenges that we are facing. But if you tried the cooperative model, it has worked elsewhere in the world. The cooperative model, first of all, when we come together, we have the component of sharing the risk. That's why we talked about the foundation. We want these groups to be formed like on a common basis, on a common enterprise, common values, so that we can sustain them. When we come together, first of all, we share the risk as members of the cooperative. Secondly, we can use our own resources we have pulled. So one of the challenges the youth face is access to the resources, to the finances. So that's why we are saying, if the cooperatives are formed based on the principles of cooperatives and the values, we have higher chances of these cooperatives surviving. We are talking about skilling. You mentioned that the president is even launching. Yes, we have those regional hubs, the skilling hubs, especially in the cities, the major cities of the country. The hubs are there, which is also a good initiative, because that means people who have a common skill will come together, and all they will need is that teamwork, because cooperatives bring us together. So you will come together with your skill, with your set vision, set mission and objectives and targets. So the education element, that was our principle number 5 on education, and we need to continuously. Mr. Jalimpa talked about maybe the evolution in IT. You find now youth could be using the old model technology, but we have to always get them on board, building their capacities to catch up with the new trends, because that could be one of the challenges, that is. But above all, for us, I want the cooperative model, because it builds the team spirit. We work as a team. We work towards improvement of our own, because we have our third principle is member economic participation. We come together majorly. Even when you look at the founders, when you go to Scotland on the evolution of the cooperatives, these weavers were being exploited. When you come to Chinakulia here in Uganda, 1913, that was the foundation, exploitation. So we are saying that we want to empower our members economically. That's the spirit of cooperation. We never want to stay the same. In fact, of late, we are moving away from even just saying, we have grown in number, we are now 1,000 members. We want to carry out lifestyle audits in the cooperatives. You have 20 members. How have this money that they borrowed in the circle, the money that they are borrowing, how has this money impacted the lives of the members? You're not just telling us, 20 borrowed, but we want the cooperatives to even follow up these individuals. If someone is borrowing, if it's a housing cooperative, and maybe Mr. Chalimpa, you gave an example, like the youths, at times someone, planting cocoa in Bundibujo or in West Nile, it will take long. But the beauty is, dear youths who are out there, cooperatives have evolved over time. It was in the 1960s where we had majorly the agriculture and the produce marketing cooperatives, where we had the Bugishu into coffee, Uganda coffee. But these days, cooperatives have evolved. We have housing cooperatives, we have service cooperatives, we have energy cooperatives. So I call upon the youth out there that these days we have expounded, we have workplace cooperatives, youths in the different workplaces also forming cooperatives, pulling their resources together. So the beauty also is in the cooperative movement that times have changed. The cooperatives, the types have also evolved. We have health cooperatives. If you're health workers, young health workers, you can form your cooperative. So it has evolved. So we are no longer in the traditional ones. They are there still, yes, fine, but we have also seen an evolution. Maybe now you can even now we shall go to the marketing someone electronic cooperatives marketing products. So this is the beauty of the cooperatives, and so we need to first of all, Mr. Chirabo, reach out to the youth, work out mechanisms on, first of all, engaging them on the transition. How do we bring in the youths into these cooperatives? But secondly, giving them knowledge, communicating. How do we communicate? Maybe they are not used to the traditional ways of, you'll go read the book, but how can also use the media, social media? If the youths are on on maybe TikTok, how can we as the cooperative movement reach out to that youth who is on TikTok? If that's where we can find them, let's try all ways of reaching out to them so that we can give them the information. And that's why we need the fellow young youths into cooperatives so that we can devise models of how best to reach out to the youth out there.
Well, very interesting how best to reach out to the youth and give them this information. Now, Joshua, also very important that we've seen is education. Information can take various angles. It could be just to let them know of the opportunity. Still, that will be information given to them. But how do we improve the element of educating these youth? I've interacted with a number of them. I don't know if they do it out of furore, but I don't think it's out of furore. But they will actually tell you, you find someone, they received money, and they are telling you, the president was thanking us for electing you. These are revolving funds. They know very well. Then someone tells you, oh, we never received any form of education regarding how we are going to use this money, what this money is for. Financial literacy becomes something, what's another issue there. Do you know? If you got the money, what did you do? I got the rest of the money. So how do we, because this is very, very vital. When I get the technical people from your ministry, they will tell you we do education. When I go on the ground, I don't, I think either I meet the wrong people or those I meet are speaking the truth.
Of course, thank you, Shirabo. It's a challenge, but also to understand that being youth is transient stage. You are not a youth forever. And that's where the problem comes. For example, you give money to youth today, you have to look at the definition of who is a youth. Tomorrow, that person will not be a youth. He will say, I'm not a youth. Therefore, that intervention. Now, I think the most important aspect is for the youth, it goes back to the mindset that we are talking about. To understand that the actions you make today as a youth are what determines your future even as you age. We are talking about countries where you have old people, they are in the majority, and the young people are in the minorities. Now, those countries are able to look after their aged population because of their actions in the past. They have social security, they have insurance, they have NSSF, and people are able to at least survive. Now, in a country where, for example, the youth themselves are not involved in production, are not investing, it means that the future can be doomed. Because it means that when they age, they did not plan for that old age. So we have a lot of work to do. We have done a lot in the area of sensitizing the people to understand about the opportunities that are available. We are still lagging in the area of mindset change. I think the government intervention going forward should be in providing the resources to the Ministry of Gender and other stakeholders to talk to the youth, such that we inculcate in the youth the culture of working hard, the culture of thinking about tomorrow. Otherwise, today, most youth are thinking about today, they are not thinking about tomorrow, and that is a challenge which we have to address. It's work in progress. I know that changing, mindset change is not something you can achieve in one day. No. It is a whole intervention that has to last time. It also has to be embedded within the curricula. So it means that you're talking about also the involvement of the Ministry of Education. In countries, we have been having discussions around the development of a national civic education framework. In countries, for example, in Ghana, they have a continuous program on civic education. What is the right of a youth? What is the right of a citizen in a country? What are you expected to do as a citizen? But what we have in Uganda, because of course, largely because of the funding priorities or the lack of the resources, you see it during, for example, if there's an outbreak of cholera, there will be some media campaign talking about hand washing. If it is the elections, they will teach us about the right to vote, why we should vote, which is voter education. However, this is content which should be provided to citizens on a daily basis if you are to make an impact on the thinking of a society. I think that's where UBC comes in hand and other media outlets to help in shaping society.
Well, I've been shaping society now. Time seems to be moving very fast, but I just want to give each of my guests some time to have their parting shot, and I'll begin with Justin here as we come to the end of the show.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chirabo. Just on a quick one, Mr. Chalimpa was talking about who a youth is. According to the United Nations, okay, at first the youth was somewhere between 15 and 24. But, you know, given other programs like education, someone stays in school for some time. So you find that some countries look at youth's age between 15 and 29, depending on some programs that are ongoing. Okay, but as Uganda Cooperative Alliance, we are very grateful to UBC for availing us this opportunity to reach out to Ugandans out there and preach the gospel of cooperatives for development. Youth and women is a pillar in the Uganda Cooperative Alliance strategic plan. We value you, and we shall engage. We shall have all avenues to reach out to the youth and to the women for empowerment of this country. Thank you so much.
Yes, Chalimpa, your parting shot.
Thank you very much. First, to correct the impression that is very common in society. In most of our societies, they think that once you get married, you cease to be a youth.
True.
So there's msajja mukulu wali na n'omukazi n'abaana, but like in the definition of a youth, anybody from the ages of 18 to 30, that's I'm talking about the intervention of YRP is a youth.
Yes.
So whether you have a wife, whether you have kids, but you are youth, and we are targeted by the government programs. I want to thank UBC. I want to thank the Uganda Cooperative Alliance. And I'm happy that you had partnerships. I think we can nurture this partnership between the ministry and the Uganda Cooperative Alliance, because we can draw from the synergies that I'm already seeing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Justin Kainza and Joshua Chalimpa from Ministry of Gender, Labour and Social Development, and Justin Head Partnerships, Uganda Cooperative Alliance. That tall man is here. These days is getting short. I don't know, maybe it's me growing tall, because it's confusing me. It's shortening with time. But let me leave him take you through sports updates. Good morning.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda. Peak of the day on UBC.
Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
Was brought to you by
I'll call you every day, yeah, yo,
You can now get all the Chibuzi out with MTN voice bundles. Call all
networks Kubei Dondoro. Buy a 25-minute voice bundle for only 1,000 or buy any daily voice bundle of your choice. Dial *100 *21 hash and select daily or use the MyNGN app. When we talk together, we are unstoppable.
A new dawn on Behind the Headlines with me, Timothy Nyangweso. Every Wednesday, live in our studios in the heart of Kampala. We have conversations that have analysis, explanation, but not every truth is fact, and not every fact is truth. Every Wednesday, 10 p.m. on your public broadcaster.
All on your public broadcaster. UBC, inspiring Uganda.
Welcome to Good Morning Uganda, your go-to morning show to kickstart your day with all the latest updates.
Let's dive deep into issues that matter most to you.
In a world of stories waiting to be told, the headlines are your guide. Navigate the currents of news and knowledge with our daily updates of newspapers. Stay informed, stay empowered.
From the roar of the crowd to the thunder of victory, witness the drama unfold with our sports updates. Whether on the field or in the stands, join us as we celebrate the spirit of champions.
Rise with Good Morning Uganda, weekdays from 6:30 a.m.
We're going to be talking about farming, but it's not me that's going to do that.
My name is Hava K. Luanga.
My name is Larry Charles K.
Let's go!
Mixed farm is a type of farming that involves growing crops and raising livestock. This is the spice garden and for the vegetables.
My first favorite spice has to be black pepper.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.